Kadosh, Boker Or. Masechet Ketubot Daf Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph 77A1. We're just going to start on the two dots on Ayin Vav Amud Bet, second last line. Hachamim Omenim. We're talking about when were the rabbis coming and saying these words? Bemumin shebaseter, only something which is going to be in hiding, right? Because if you remember, we were talking about bemeduin. Rabbis, if you remember, we were talking about that if it's going to be that it was something that was revealed, so therefore he saw it and he accepted it. So obviously we're talking about bemumin shebaseter, that if it was in hiding, so he didn't see it. How is he going to know that underneath, right, or whatever, she's going to have certain blemishes? So Amar of Nachman says of Nachman, v'nichpeh. What about epilepsy? You know, nichpez. Machalat nefila, epilepsy. That's what it says here. Kemumin shabaset. It's like kemumin shabaset. Why? Because at the end of the day, how's he going to know? He doesn't know, right? So therefore, it's going to be a problem. Any mumin has to, again, these mumin, you have to say, yes, 100%. But that's only going to be if it's going to be kavua zman, which means, that means she could actually hide it, right? But if it's not kavua lezman, so then he's going to know. All of a sudden, he comes, she thinks, like, what happened to her? You know, so he's going to start suspecting it. Okay? Fine. Mishnah. Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph. Mishnah. Says a Mishnah. Ha'ish shenoldu bo mumin. What about now a man that has mumin? Until now, we were speaking about women, right? And here everyone was all excited, right? What happens now about the man? All of a sudden, the man has a mumin.
We are perfect.
What's going to happen now? En kofinoto leotzi. We don't force him, right, to divorce her, right? Why? Because a woman is not makpidah on the appearance of the man, like the man is makpid on the appearance of a woman. Did you just hear the musar of today? It's not only musar, it's psychology. I just read to you a Mishnah. I just told you a Mishnah. Yeah, I just told you a Mishnah. So here it says, Amar Rabbi Rabban Shimon Gamliel, says Rabban Shimon Gamliel, when are these words? Mordechai, Tishma, when are these words? Bemumin ktanim. Bemumin ktanim. In a small mum. What does that mean? A small mum, she's not makpedet. Aval bemumin gedolim, but something that's very big, kofino toleotzi. We force him to divorce. Which means that it all depends whether it's a big one or a small one. That's what, and the Gemara is going to explain which ones are big ones and which ones are small ones. The Gemara says, Rav Yehuda taught in our Mishnah, noldu. What does it mean, noldu? It came after the wedding. Meaning, it could be like what they were saying here, the Kal Kadosh beforehand. Beforehand, maybe she's very picky, maybe. But after the wedding, if there is this mum which is coming forth, so then this is our Mishnah. But Chia bar Rav taught in the Mishnah, Hayu, which means that if they were there, meaning even before the marriage. Okay, so says the Gemara, Man de Amar Noldu, according to the Man de Amar that says that it's only going to be Noldu, which means after the marriage, Kol Sheken, so then it's Kol Sheken and they're not going to force them to divorce. Why? The kasavra v'kibla, right? Because if it's going to be beforehand, so she accepted it. If you're going to tell me that after the wedding we don't force him to divorce her, so kal vachomer, if they happen before the wedding, she saw it and she accepted it. She knew she was going into a marriage with this guy that he looked half, mijnun. Yeah, the man damar hayu. But if you're going to tell me that the man damar is hayu, which means it happened previously, so now he comes and he says, right, hayu. Aval noldu lo. But if it's going to be noldu, then no. Which means if it's going to be that if they came afterwards, no. Really, be'emet, she could ask for the get. That is the shita of what we just mentioned now. So tonight we learned on the Mishnah, one of these words, only in small blemishes. They said, aval, but in big blemishes, we do come and force him to divorce her. I understand noldu. That's why I made a differentiation between small and big. Because basically, we're going to say, listen, she's not, it could be maybe bothers a little bit, but she's going to say, look, she's got a husband, a family, parnasa, or she's going to be divorced because, and then go start looking for somebody again. They don't like change. You understand? It's very difficult. So he says, that's why we made a differentiation. But according to the Hayu that it was already before, Malik Dolim Malik Tanim has one second. If he already had the mum before the marriage, she saw it and she accepted it. So what's the difference between a big one and a small one? You ask her 1 second, did he have this previously? Yes. So what do I care then if it's a big mum or a small mum? You saw it, you accepted it. Bekatish. Savra vekibla. So says the Gemara, Kisura hi sheyochola lekabel. Ve'achshav ani yochola lekabel. This is something very, very famous that people have to understand. Sometimes people think that they could withstand, then afterwards they can't. I remember it once happened, a story. No, not in Israel. It happened here, right? But so says the Gemara, that what happened? She thought she could accept it, and all of a sudden she cannot accept it. Okay, fine. And these are big blemishes. What are the big blemishes? Piresh Rashbag, Kigon Nismet Eno. He became blinded in right. Niktia Yado, his hand was cut off. Nishbera Raglo, his foot was broken. All right, this is a Mamash Pele. Okay, here it says, it's only one. Here it says one of them, but if it's going to be both of them, right, according to everybody, we force them. Because here it was a machloket, by the way. Here it's a machloket, because in the Mishnah, it was mashma everything. Right? That means basically, אין כופין אותו להוציא. רשב"ג was the one that said, באמת אומרים, right? כן, להוציא אותה ולשלם כתובה. למה על האישה נותנים? So says the Gemara, if it's going to be on everybody, which means that it's going to be two hands, according to everybody, there's nothing what to talk about. Itmar, it was stated, Rabbi Abba bar Yaakov amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Abba bar Yaakov named Rabbi Yochanan, halakha like Rashbag, halakha like Rashbag. Rava amar Nachman, Rava says the name of Nachman, halakha like Divrei Chachamim, like the Tanakama, which means there's a machloket in our Mishnah. The Mishnah first opinion said, אין כופין אותו להוציא. The Rashbag comes and he says, depends, מומים גדולים, מומים קטנים, so it all depends on the circumstances. So therefore there's a machloket also. Have you paskin halakha l'maaseh? So Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says halakha like Rashbag. Rava says the name of Nachman, halakha like Divrei Chachamim. So ask the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, Hachi? Does Rabbi Yochanan actually come and he says that? Rabbi Yochanan says, any time that we see Rashbag in the Mishnah, who's Rashbag? We paskin like him in the Mishnah, except for 3 different places. Chutz mi, Arev, Tzaidan, V'Rayah Charona. These are 3 different Mishnayot, which is again, the Arev is obviously the Machlok between Rashbag and Chachamim to do with the Achrayut of an Arev on a halva'ah. That means basically how much does the guarantor take upon himself in the halva'ah. That's a machloket also brought down there. Tzaidan is basically the machloket to do with a get, which was given in the city of Tzaidan, as the Gemara says in Masechet Gitin. Raya Charona was the machloket to do with the second machloket to do with the Mishan Sanhedrin, to do with kashrut of the re'iyah chadasha neged gmardin shel bedin, which means that they have a new re'iyah, a new proof, right, that came after the verdict of a bedin. So other than that, that's how we paskin. So answers the Gemara, Amoraim, you're right, there's some Amoraim, but even Rabbi Yochanan, according to Rabbi Yochanan, which means that it comes out that there's machloket, Amoraim, in Shitat Rabbi Yochanan, what was the halakha? Was the halakha like Rashbag, or the halakha was like Hahami, which is Tanakama? Ayin Zayin Amud Aleph Mishnah, second Mishnah. Yeah, second Mishnah on the page. Put on your seatbelt, please. Ve'elu shekofin oto leotzi. These are the ones, the Balei Mumim, that they force him to give a get to his wife. Mukeshchin. If he is a mukeshchin, if he's full of boils, bal polypos, right? A person that has polypos, the Gemara is going to explain what this is, right? Kametz. What does that mean? That means basically he puts suat klavim in his hands, right? Excrement of dogs in his hands. I don't know what that means. Obviously, I guess he's, this is what he's doing. Tzaref nechoshet, right? Somebody comes and he puts, right, nechoshet. What does it mean, tzaref nechoshet? Right? These are the, how do you call, copper. He's a coppersmith. Yeah? A bursi. Bursi is that he's ma'abed orot, right? The leather, no, it's not leather, it's a tanner. It's a tanner, right? It's tannery. Ben shayu, ad shelo nisu, ben shinusuno. Do doesn't matter whether they were like that before or afterwards. Val kulana marabimin and all of them says of shitznaima, even though she made a condition. She could say, listen, at the beginning I thought I could accept it. No, I can't. Listen, she thought at the beginning, the guy comes, he's a shochet. By the way, shochatim. Ooh, what they have to do afterwards. I remember that there was one shochet, he told me, Rabbi, you don't understand. I have to go somewhere else, or I have to go home when the wife is not there, completely change, take a complete shower, like I don't know what, scrub the guy down, with soap from head to toe, as they say, right? Put all the clothing in the wash, and then she could come back home. She It doesn't exist. Understand? It doesn't exist. What? Yeah, that's what it is. Hachamim omerim. Says Hachamim, are you listening? Hachamim say mekabel eti al korcha. If the condition was that she's going to accept it against her will, meaning if that was the tonight, he comes and he tells his wife, listen, he's a tanner or he's a blacksmith or whatever it is, she's going to accept it. He says, except for, right, the mukashchin. Why? Because mukashchin during the time of tashmish, it comes out. It starts falling off, that. So no. Mukashchin, the boils and everything, it will come out during the relation. So because of that, that's only one that even if she made the condition with him, that she accepts it. No. It doesn't exist. Okay? Masechet Tzidon, there was a story of Tzidon. The bursi echad shemet. Right? There was a story of Tzidon with a bursi that he died without children. So therefore there was going to be yibum. Vayalo ach bursi. Now the brother was also bursi. Amru chachamim, the chachamim say, Yechola shetomar lachicha iti yechola lekabel. Meaning both brothers had the same job. They were tanners. They were working with the skins and everything. It was a stench. But she could come and she could say, to your brother, I was able to withstand, but not to you. So she could get out of the yibum by saying, I cannot do that. Right? But your husband was the same thing. No. She could get out of it. Okay, that's what the Mishnah says. Says the Gemara, my bal polipus. What is polipus? Amar Rabbi Meshua says in Mishmuel, reach hachotem. It's a smell of the nose. No, polipus is reach hapeh. It's the stench of the mouth, right? Which basically mamash. In both of the cases, you could come and you could divorce. Why? Because it's mamash. It's a bad smell. Okay? Rav Asi, Rav Asi taught the opposite. When he put a siman, that Shmuel, which is a peh, the mouth of Shmuel, didn't stop speaking an entire perek. And he was always talking. Yeah? It sounds like here, everyone's always talking. Ham kametz, next. What is my kametz exactly? Which means he comes and he takes swat klavim little by little in any place where so he comes and he starts collecting dog's excrement. By the way, dog's excrement was used once upon a time for soap, right? The tide was made out of dog's excrement.
Didn't they write with this?
Also, that's what. So ask the Gemara, Meitway, we have the question, Mekabetz, Bursi. I thought what are you telling me now? It's Mekabetz, which is basically the meaning is Mekametz, is comments. Remember the comments of the, but he says Mekabetz, meaning he's collecting. That's what Klavim, here it says it's a Bursi. So ask the Gemara, according to your reasoning, teach the Lechamati, you could ask the Mishnah. The Mishnah says Mekametz, Vatzarev doch, Bursi. So if it tells you Mekametz and Bursi, they're not the same thing, right? They're not the same thing. So Bishop and Matzini Lokasha, I understand the Mishnah is on a question, Bursi Gadol, Bursi Katan. One of them is a big one, one of them is a small one, right? That means it depends which one, it's a big one or a small one. Ella, but rather than review the kasha, it's over that's going to be a question. So answer the Gemara tonight here, right? It's a machlok tonight. The time we learned in a braita, mekametz bursi. Yeshomrim some people say mekametz tzua klavim. So it's two different opinions. Next, two dots. Hamtzaref nechoshev bursi. My mitzaref nechoshev. What do you mean mitzaref nechoshev? Ravashi says chash ledude. What does it mean chash ledude? He's meraded taseh nechoshet, meaning that he's coming to make them. So a person, when he's like melting these planks, or I don't know what you want to call them, the sheets of copper, right? In order to come and to make all these things. So therefore, again, it's with pechamim, it's with coals, so it smells. You're cutting it from the beginning, from the ground. So that he's coming in from the ground from the beginning. Rav comes and he says, the man comes and he says, I'm not going to give you parnasah, right? And I'm not going to give mamash nothing. He's not going to give her any money. So he's forced to divorce her and he has to give her the ketubah. So Rabbi Lazar went and he said this in front of Shmuel, right? Amar, and he said, Aksua sa'are le'Elazar, give barley to Elazar. Why are they going to come and force him to divorce? Force him to give parnasah. Meaning, what are you coming to say? Right? Give it first, force him to give parnasah. What do you first start forcing him to divorce? First, force him to give parnasah. Right? What could Rav answer you? He says, good ta'ana. Rav is going to answer you. You like to live with a snake? Yeah. A person does not like to live with a snake in one place. What does that mean? Right? She could come and she could say, listen, if the guy was actually able to come, right, and stop her from having mizonot, so therefore she says, that means what? He doesn't care if she dies. If he could get to such a point that she could say, no, I don't want to stay married to such a man. And therefore, according to Rav, we force him to divorce. Kisalik Rabbi Zera, when Rabbi Zera went, right, he went up from Babel to Eretz Israel. Ashkechel Rabbi Binyamin Bayefet, he found Rabbi Binyamin Yochanan, that he found that he saw was saying the name of Yochanan. Elmaleh, he says, Al Dak Suasaran Elazabel. Do you know on this psak, they went and they gave the Seorim to Babel, to Rabbi Lazar. So Amar Rabbi Yehuda Marasi says Rabbi Yehuda Marasi, En me'asin ela lipsulot. What does that mean? We're not going to force the husbands to divorce the wives unless they are psulot to them. Meaning that for no reason, we're not going to come and start doing divorces. We force them the other way around. Okay? So Kamanita came into shul when they said in front of shul, Amari said, Go Namana, Kohen Gadol, Gusham Chalutzah Kohen Yom, Mamzer Ntina Lisrael, Pati Yisrael Ntina Mamzer, right? Aval, Nasa Yisha V'Shai Ma'aseh Shanim Lo Yelda, and Kofino. So that means all these cases were prohibited marriages. Kohen Gadol to an almana, Kohen, right? Kohen Idiot to Grusha V'Chalutza, Mamzer Ntina to Israel, Yisrael to the opposite way. Now all of a sudden, but if a person comes and they get married, right, and it's a normal marriage, Baruch Hashem, the only thing is they don't have children. Past 10 years, we do not force them to come and to get divorced. Rav Tachlifa Baravimi Amar Shmuel says Rav Ravimi Shmuel, Afilu Nasa Isha Shanim Lo Yelda, Kofino to we do force them to come and to divorce her. On what? Amar so comes to the Gemara and says, Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, so it says that these are the ones you're going to force her to divorce, right? That means we're going to force him to divorce her. Mukashkin, if he became Mukashkin, Bishop and Rabbi Yasi, I understand Rabbi Yasi, because he was only talking about the things which are going to be, right, the Rabbanans, but not Doraita. Right? That means basically we're talking about things which are Rabbanan, not Doraita. Doraita for sure you have to divorce. And says, Rav Nachman, look, I asked that question. What does that mean? One of them is that we're going to force him with words, which means that on Pidyav Rivya, we only force by words. Meaning we start telling him, listen, by the way, you have to do Pidyav Rivya, you have to do this. You understand? You have to do Pidyav Rivya. Right? But even after you do Pidyav Rivya, you never stop. You continue going. So never too late. Yeah? So he says, Ha beshote. Here we're talking about that we're going to force him with the beatings. Sure. Yeah? With the shot. Yeah, with the palos. Trecha. Yeah, that they give them. Okay? There's the Gemara. Matkif Rabbi Abba comes and he says, Bidvarim lo yivased aved. What does that mean? Since the pasuk is coming teaching you the Kriyah Bidvarim does not help, so how are you going to tell me now that they're going to do it? Bidvarim. Bidvarim doesn't help. You're just going to talk. How many times did I talk to people? I come and tell them, come to Mincha, come to Masechta, come to this. It doesn't work. So therefore, what does Dvarim help? Dvarim doesn't help. You heard? Dvarim doesn't help. You need makot. So it says the Gemara is Rabbi comes and he says, Have shote. We're talking about with shotim. We're talking about with the thing. Ein Zayin Mubet, right? 77b. Hatam ki amra havina ba'deh. So there, to do the Mishnah of the Mumin, when the woman says that she stays, even though he has the mum, shavkinallah. We let her do whatever she wants. Hacha over here, even though she said that she wants to stay, lo shavkinallah. We don't let her. That means basically she's going to come and she's going to say, listen, I want to stay married to him. You've been 10 years married, you don't have children. We don't let her. Meaning the other cases, if she says she wants to stay with him, even though he looks like what does he look like? I don't know what. Hashem Yishmon, right? Yeah. We still let her. But this case, we don't. So says the what are you talking about? I thought you said that even though she said that she wants to stay with him, we don't let her. The time we learned in the Mishnah. So answers you're right. Hatam over there in the case of Mukashkin, when she comes and says she's going to live with him with edim to show that they're not going to have relations. So then shafkinala, then we let her. Even though she's going to come and she's going to say that we're going to live with edim, we don't let her. Why? Because basically what she's stopping him from Pidyav by the mukashkin, so she could actually say she's going to stay with him, but she's not going to. It's up to her, and she's not going to have relations. And she needs a dean. She needs a dean to be with them the entire time to make sure that they don't have relations. By here, by the 10 years, she's stopping him from fulfilling Pidyav Rivya. Tanya, we learned to the right time. Do you know that there's one of the elders of Yerushalayim told me there are 24 types of boils. And on all of them, right, tashmish is bad for them. And the worst of all of them is something which is called ba'aleh ra'atan. Okay, ra'atan is caused through a sheretz, which is called a pretizi, that comes in between the halal, between the krum of the moach and the rugolet, right? And therefore, somebody that gets ra'atan, a parasite. Okay, a parasite. So he says they become very, very weak. So this ra'atan is a machala chamura umdabeke biyoter. It's very contagious and it's very, very powerful, right? Okay. So we might have it. From what does it come from? The time we learned on the right, he keeps dam v'shimesh. If a person with bloodlet They took out blood and then they had relations. They're going to have children which are very, very weak. But if they both took out blood, the man and the woman, then they're going to have children which are baalei ratan. If they both took out blood and then they had relations. Because after taking out blood, you have to actually remember when a person used to take out blood, it wasn't nowadays you come and you take a little bit of blood, or you used to take out a lot of blood to revive, right? To start the body, the antibodies again. So you take out a lot of blood. So after that, they have to eat a lot, they have to drink a lot, they have to sleep a lot, right? So they're not supposed to have relations. Okay? It says, Papa. Papa says, if he didn't eat anything. But if they ate something, let lamba, there's no problem. Meaning, as long as they ate something and then they had the relations, it's going to be okay. So, my simane, what's the simanim of this machala? Dalfan ene, their eyes are always tearing. The daivi nichire, and the nostrils, right? There's always like liquid coming down from the nostrils. The aitile rira mupumen, that comes out real from his mouth. Urmududve ilave, right? And there's always flies around him. There's always going to be flies flying around. Umaya suta. So what is the refuah? Abai says pila velodana. These are talking about like different herbs from the family of menta, of mint, and from la'ana. Okay, girna de egoza, the klipot of the egos of the walnut tree, the girda de ashpa, and what they scrape off from the skin of the animal. Uklil malka chavtzelet. I don't know what that is. Umatchala de dikla sumka, the klipa of tmarim adumim. We're talking about like like brownish, reddish dates. Okay, which that means basically they're not ripened. They're very small. Shalik luba de adadi. You cook them all together. Malelebete de shisha, and then they put the chole into a house which is all made out of shaish, which means that there's no wind coming inside. It's all made out of marble. Below ikra beta the shisha. If you don't have this house of marble, so you put it into a house with the walls are like very, very, very thick. Here it says like shiva levanim variach. You have like 7 bricks. Right, and a half a brick. So imagine they're going to pour on top of him 300 kosot, right? Until the gugolet becomes very, very soft, right? And you could actually like tear it, right, with a knife. The karale moche, they tear open his head, yeah, in order to find the sheretz. Umaiti arba tarpe deasa. They're going to bring 4 alehadas. Umalli kulchad kara umotivchad. They pick up one of the legs of the sheretz and they put on one of the adas, and they continue doing that. The shake the tzifta v'kalile. Then they take it out and they have to with a tongue, and then they have to burn the sheretz. If not, he'll go back to the chole. Look what it is. This is the old. That's the Gemara. Machri of Yochanan. So Yochanan came and he mentioned he's shel baalei ratan. Be very, very careful of the zuvim which are beside the baalei ratan. Right? Why? Because they could also catch them. Meaning these flies that are around these baalei ratan, they could get, it's contagious. Rabbi Zera lo aviyati b'zikeh. So Rabbi Zera would never go in a place where the wind of the baalei ratan could get him. Yeah. Right? That means he wouldn't sit if the wind is blowing. No, he wouldn't be in the same way. Rabbi Elazar lo ba'oleh. He wouldn't go in the same ohel. They wouldn't even eat from an egg which is in the same mevoah. And if they knew that there's a vicinity or there's going to be like a neighborhood where there's a baalei ratan, they wouldn't even eat eggs, nothing. They would stay far away from it. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi used to come right behem. He used to learn Torah. Amari said, what does that mean? If the Torah is going to bring chen on the ones, what? It's not going to break. That means you see from here, Rabbi Yoshua put himself in sakana. He went right with the baalei ratan, but he was learning Torah and he used to cling with them. He said nothing's going to happen. When he passed away, they went and they told the malach hamavet, no, go do what you need. Malach hamavet, go do what you need. Yeah? He says, he went and he appeared to him. Amaleh, he comes and he tells him, right? Show me where my place is in Gan Eden. Amaleh, he says, fine. Amaleh, havli sakincha, give me your sakin. Right? He says, why? Because maybe you're going to come, and you're going to scare me on the way. He gave him, so think about it. Malach hamavet, he comes, he gives him his knife, right? He's going to show him his place in the Gan Eden. Kimata lehatam, when he got up to there, we're talking about Yishum Levi getting up to there, dalye, right? So therefore, he picked him up, right? Kamachli, and he started showing him his place in Gan Eden. Shavar nafal ugisa. Rabbi Yishum Levi, he jumped onto the other side, right? He jumped into Gan Eden. Right, so therefore the malach hamavet couldn't kill him. Nakte bekarna de glimeh, but the malach hamavet, he was able to grab him on the side of the clothing. Grabbed him. Yeah, he starts grabbing. So he says, "Shavan nafalo gisa." Right? So what happened? Amarle, he says, "Bishvuata de loatina." Rabbi Yishol, he makes a shavua he's not coming back. Yeah, which means you can grab onto whatever you want. I'm not coming back. Now the Malach HaMavet has a problem. He wants to bring him back, but he made a Shavuot that he's not coming back. So Amar Kul Shabrichu says that Kadosh Baruch Hu, if Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi once made a Shavuot and he did a Tarat Nedarim, listen to this. This is so. Remember that this is tomorrow's done, right? So imagine, and we're right by Tarat Nedarim this coming Sunday morning, right? Think about it. He says if Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi once made a neder and he did a Tarat Nedarim, said the same things, right? He made a neder or Shavuot, and he came and he asked on his neder and asked on his Shavuot, Alav lachzor. Then we do a Tarat Nedarim for him, and then he goes back. Ilo lo nada. But if he didn't do it, then he doesn't go back. Amarle says the Malach HaMavet to B'Shulavi, Havli Sakinai. Now, obviously, what happened was he never did it. So since he never did it, he was allowed to stay there. So then comes the Malach HaMavet and he says, "Okay, fine. You know what? Fine. You want me? But at least give me back my knife. My knife. I need a knife to cut the yeah. Yeah, give me the knife." He didn't want to give it to him. Yeah, yeah. Nafka Batkala. Yeah. So now he comes and he says, Nafka Batkala came out of Batkol. The Amra Leim told Rishon Levi, Havni Ale de Mitbael Briata. No, you have to give it back. Why? Because he needs it for other people. Meaning, you're right. He's not going to use it on you. You're already in the nether, but he needs it for other people. Okay. So therefore, he gave it back. You understand? That means basically he was certain that he wasn't going to use it on him. So once he wasn't going to use it on him, he gave it back. Okay. Knife. But it's Dafka, the knife of the Malach HaMavet. It's a special knife. Machris Eliyahu Kameh. So Eliyahu came and he said in front of him, bring a place for Bar Levi. Yoshua ben Levi was Ben Levi. So bring a place for Bar Levi. So they found that he was sitting on 13 kisaot of zahav tower of pure gold. Amalei, told Rabbi Shimon ben Levi, Atu Bar Levi? Are you Rabbi Shimon ben Levi? That means Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai is in Gan Eden, and he sees this guy, right? So he says, "Are you Bar Levi?" So Amalei, right? Now one more time. Sorry, I'll apologize. Maybe you guys thought that I meant that it was in this world. It was in Olam Haba. Yeah. Okay. No, I just wanted to make sure. Right? It's in Gan Eden. Yeah. Okay. So Amalei comes and he says, right? And yes. So he asks him, right? The Rashbi asks him, he says, was there ever a rainbow in your lifetime? Right? Amalei, he comes and he says, and yes. So he says, in Ken, and so no, you can't be that way. Velohi, the truth is, it wasn't true. There was never a rainbow during the lifetime of Yoshua ben Levi because he was such a tzaddik. Right? But he didn't want to be a midgaye. He didn't want to show the gava. And Gan Eden with Shimon Yochai, the nose in the air. No. No, he didn't want to be machzik tov elatzmo. So he didn't say it. Right? So he was a good friend with the Malach HaMavet. Imagine, it's a good friend. No, you want to be good friends with him, yeah? So when it came his time to pass away, they went to the Malach HaMavet, go do it, take your job. So he appeared to him. Amalei says, Shifki, leave me 30 days until I do chazara. What does that mean? He was going to do 30 days chazara on everything that he learned in his entire lifetime. 30 days. You understand? Right? Usually we used to have, Chaim Kanievsky was a year used to finish everything. Right? But every month, chazara on everything that you learn. You know what that means? That means imagine, you understand? The Amri, as they say, Asher mi sheba lekam v'talmudo biyado. Kinya Masechta. Fortunate as a person that he comes to this world and he has his Talmud in his hand. This is not the Talmud biyado. Not that in his hand, it means you have it clear. You're able to read a parasha. You're able to say, this is the Gemara Daf Gimel, this is the Gemara Daf Chet, this is the Gemara Daf Vav. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to learn a Gemara and know a Talmudo biyado. He says, Shavki, so you let him. You asked to do Chazarot, I let you do Chazara. You want to learn something new, I don't let you. You want to do Chazarot, I let you do Chazara. Yeah, there's always time for Chazarot. Understood? Yeah. Somebody asked me for Musar. The entire Gemara is all through Chazara. Right? The entire, all Musar. Look at the Gemara. Levatar tzatzik mean after 30 days, Azal Chazar, he came to him again. Amaleh, he says, show me your place. Amaleh lechayeh, okay, I'll show it to you. Amaleh, he told him, bring me your knife. Amaleh, why, you want to do like your friend? He says, I learned the trick already. You understand? Amaleh, he says, he comes and he says, what are you talking about? He comes and he says, right, why don't you, Rabbi comes and he says, give me a Sefer Torah, show me one thing that I wasn't fulfilled. Elmaleh, he says, Mi kracht ba'valei ratan v'isakta b'Torah. What? Were you nidbeke b'valei ratan and you were learning Torah? You see from here the difference between him and Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, the fact that he clinged to people that had terminal illnesses, which are basically contagious, and he didn't care because he was learning Torah, and the Torah would protect him. Look what the difference between him and Rabbi Hanina bar Papa. Yeah, look at the difference. Hanina bar Papa, he went. The Malach HaMavet told him, "Did you do like Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi? Did you go with the people that they had Rabbi Leratan and you were learning Torah?" But still, right, even with that, so you see from here what it is, a Mesirut Nefesh. The Gadlut, that he didn't care of putting himself in danger in order that they should also learn Torah. They should be able to learn Torah. And still, when he passed away, there was a pillar of fire that divided between him and the entire world. And we have a tradition. This only happens to one or two in the generation. Meaning, if you're going to have such a thing, it only happens to one or two people in the entire generation. It doesn't exist. It doesn't, every single day there's going to be a pillar of fire coming and dividing. Right? The Olam Hazeh. Yeah? So he says, right, like this. So Rabbi Alexandri comes towards the kever of Rabbi Chanim Papa. Amar, and he comes and he says, he says, V'vakasha, please, take away the pillar of fire. So that way the Chachamim could actually come. Because if not, they're going to be burnt. So that way the Chachamim could come. Right? Why? Because if not, then you're showing that the other Chachamim are nothing. Yeah? So he comes and he says, Lo ashkach. It didn't happen. The fire was still there. Aseh b'shvil kavod avicha. Do it for the kavod of your father. Because your father did not have fire. So, right? V'lo ashkach. He didn't pay attention to it. Like lo lashkiach was it. Kilo lo achpat. Right? He didn't pay attention to it. Aseh b'shvil kavod atzmecha. Do it for yourself. Why? So that way people can come and bury you. Meaning, when they asked him to do it for the other rabbis, that way they don't get embarrassed, the fire was still there. For your father, if your father didn't have a fire, it still was there. But except for yourself, in order that they could bury you, he still it went off. Rabbi says, Lapuke, this comes to exclude, Mimandelo Kiem, right? This comes to say that somebody that was not Mekayem, even one letter, right? It's Surakamoto, which means a mamash, to be mafrid the tzaddik sheniftar from. We're talking about, obviously we're talking about, very, very high, okay, fine. This comes to exclude from you. You know why? Because you don't have a ma'akeh, right? And the Torah told you have to have a ma'akeh. What's a ma'akeh? Ma'akeh is the gag. Says the Gemara, right? Velohi. Yeah? But it's not true. He did have it. But it fell because of the wind. And it's not going to say a thing. The rabbi didn't have a gate on the fence on his roof. He did have it. But right now there was a very strong wind, boom, and it took it down. So that's why he didn't have it right then and there. So he asked 1 second, why is it in Bavel? There's no Baalei Ratan. Answers the Gemara, because they're always eating selek, they're always eating beets, right? And they're always drinking beer which is made out of hizmi, of kishut. It's like what does it say? Shrubs.
Prickly shrubs.
Shrubs. Okay, shrubs. Rabbi Yochanan says, why is there no Baalei Tzarat in Bavel? The Shochlim Tradim, the same thing was they eat beets. Shotin Shechar, and they bathe in the Nahar Pirat Adran Allah Hamadin, and we finish the 7th chapter.